Now this tutorial will look at printing. In spreadsheets you'll have to do two different types of printing. Generally one showing your answers and one showing your formula, because in spreadsheets the majority of your marks are available for your formulas. There are two ways in which you can show your formulas. There's the old-fashioned way and the more simple way that Excel allows you to do now. It just depends on how you like to navigate your keyboard, I suppose. The older old-fashioned way, which I say quite a lot, is to push the control button on your keyboard and then tap the button below escape and it pops out the formula like so. It depends entirely what you'd like to do really. The second option is to click on the formulas tab and then show formula. Like most of the things in admin, there are several ways to do it. You find a way that's most straightforward for yourself. So we can see here that we have all our formula displayed. Now, the next thing I want to speak about is printing. Now, generally when you print you have to get everything on one page. It might say specifically print on one page. So what you have to do is manipulate the spreadsheet to make it easier to see and navigate. So let's start by making column A much more narrow, column B much more narrow. The important thing to say here is when you're printing, when you print off your formula, all your formula has to be visible. Markers can be quite strict. If your formula is not all visible, then they can't award marks for it, I'm afraid. So be aware your formula must all be visible. Now let's just make sure in every cell all the formula is clearly visible. Good. Now, let's say for instance we were asked to hide some information we didn't want printed. So let's say we are to hide columns A and B. Hide is different from deleting. The information is still there, we're just obscuring it from vision. So highlight columns A to B, right click on the top and hide. Now your information is still there, we just can't really see it now. What I've got there is a lot of formula. Let's hide these top two rows as well. Now let's look at printing. File, print and page setup. In spreadsheets, you're always asked to print in landscape. You may not always be specifically say it in the task, print as landscape, but you're expected to know that that is the best way to display this information. Header and footer, as always, custom footer, and that should clearly be name, task and school. Your option for sheet. Now this is where it gets quite technical. It might ask you to use grid lines and row and column headings or just grid lines. You just tick the options you have to use. Now there are marks for printing. If you don't print as required, you'll not get all the marks. So row and column headings, page landscape, header and footer. It might ask you to center horizontally and vertically. If you are, simply tick the boxes. Now here we have a rough example of what we're printing off. Now that'll print all three pages like so, but let's go back to our information. Let's highlight what we want to print. Then go File and Print Selection. And that's only printing the required information. For long tasks like this, it won't specify to be on one page, but for certain things such as, if you look back at maybe our availability or the venue costs, you might say print on one page. So make sure you read all